Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So I've belonged to this organization for about a year now, and many of you have gotten to know me, and you know that I'm a wealth advisor. I do financial planning, investment management, estate planning. What does that mean to you? Everybody that I talk to, many people in the room here as well, have fear about their financial future. They're ashamed they don't know more about the rest of their life. I've been working with client families for a couple of decades now, and they come to me with the important questions. David, how am I going to retire? David, I want to buy a second home. David, I want to send my grandchild to med school. I have the skills and experience to show them how we're going to achieve those goals. And so if I can show you how you're going to retire, if I can show you about that second home, if I can show you about that med school education, your fear and shame is converted into joy. I have a joyful profession. Today, I'm going to spend some time talking about our digital advice platform. We've worked very hard over the last year to figure out how we can take all of the knowledge that's in my head and project it out to our clients 24/7 in the way that they want to see it, on their personal computer and on their smartphone. So I'm going to spend a few minutes going through a couple of slides of our system and talking about how it benefits our families. We have the ability to pull everything in the client's financial life onto a single screen. This is our client dashboard. Boom, at the top, net worth. We can look at some more detail. What is it net worth of? It's comprised of cash in their checking account, their credit card balances, investments they might have, life insurance, loans, usually a mortgage, and their real estate. We can capture not only the investments that we're managing directly for the client, like a joint account, but we can also capture assets that are held away. For example, the 401k. And once we have all those investments in a single repository, we can do analysis and see what the overall asset allocation is. Because frankly, it's not stock selection that gets you to your dreams. It's making sure you have the right asset allocation. So this particular family, they're in their mid-50s, they're on the glide path to retirement, and we can see at a glance that they have about 35% of their assets in fixed income and 65% of their assets in stocks, and that's the right asset allocation for them. And they can see this information just as easily as us. We go ahead and link checking accounts and credit cards to our system, and that information comes down in terms of transactions, which are automatically categorized, or they can override the categories if they want. But after a few months of capturing this data, all of a sudden, we can help them do budgeting for the first time. You'd be amazed how many people have no idea how much money they spend each month. Well, David, I put in this much, and there's this much left, so that's how much I spent. Okay, but maybe there's some fat in that budget that we can work on a little bit. And so with 3 months, we can create a budget on the fly, and the client can track that budget over time. And not only can they see it on the screen, but they can pull it up on their phone whenever in the elevator and they want to just a quick check. Oh, I'm spending too much this month. Let me ease up on my eating out for the last week of the month. There's also a lot of reporting that's available. This is a pretty straightforward report. It's just their current situation today, investments, real estate, mortgages. What's more interesting is the projections that we're able to do for the next 5 years, for the 5 years when they retire. So for example, this particular family has a portfolio currently worth about $1 million. And we can keep track of how much they're investing annually, in this case about $27,000, and we have a reasonable sense of how investment returns should grow over time, so we know that after 5 years they'll have about $1.4 million. And we know that the year they retire they'll have about $2.5 million. That's good information to know now, because we can tell people if that's enough money, or if it's not, if they need to save more. Or maybe they've oversaved, they can spend more when they retire. Again, the information today is much more valuable than that information 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. Because we have a sense, this is a very simple example, it's our client demo. They have salary income, Frank, Joanna. But we can also include things like an inheritance. You expect to inherit a couple $1 million from your parents, good news. Or you expect to sell your business at a certain point. That's good news for everybody in this room. Everybody has a business here. And use that to adjust the projections. Because we've captured a client's living expenses, we have that information. We can show them their major liabilities, their mortgage, for example, and we can track big ticket items, college, and also show that it's coming out of a 529 plan, so that expense is covered. And we know about their taxes, we know about their insurance premiums, we know how much they're saving each year. So with both the income and the outflows on the same screen, we can do a quick cross the bottom line and see if they're on track or not. Hey, if the number's around 0, we're spending as much as we're earning. But we might see a big gap in a future year. What's going on there? Oh yeah, that's the year when both kids are in college. All right? So if you know that you've got a big out 4 years from now, you can plan for it now. Again, much more useful information today rather than 4 years from now. From good data comes good decisions. So now that we've captured all of this family's information in a single spot, we can do projections about their life. For example, the easy question, hey Dave, if we maintain our current living standard, will our money last the rest of our lives? And so what we see is that when this family retires, Frank will be 62, they'll have about $2.7 million, and reasonably speaking, that will last to age 100. What if he lives to be 105? That's not out of the question. So instead of retiring at age 63, what if you retire at age 65? We can show the effect of that change. And all of a sudden, the numbers look a lot more promising. But then Frank might say, well, Dave, you know what? We'd love to travel. We're thinking of some very expensive vacations. So we'll go back to the baseline. Well, if you retire at 62 and take those expensive vacations, you could run out of money at age 93. But again, just working a couple extra years, and that concern goes away. And so these are called techniques, and we can create as many what-if scenarios as a client wants and switch them off and on in front of the client and just see, what does this happen? What does this happen? So again, from good data comes good decisions, but also the fear has gone away and it's replaced with joy. So let me talk a little bit about how my firm operates. There's 7 of us. In the room today we have myself, David Edwards, Wealth Advisor, Stacy Marcus, Wealth Advisor, Samantha Gorlick, Wealth Advisor, Shelley Fisher, Financial Planner, Elizabeth Baggs, Client Specialist. We have 2 more back at the office, Lucas, Portfolio Manager, and Yvette, Operations Manager. If you want to work with us, it's a very straightforward process. We have a 7-page questionnaire. The first page is biographical data, your name, address, phone numbers. The next 2 pages is thought questions, check boxes. What are the things that matter to you? Retirement planning, college planning, divorce planning. We do that a lot. Very important. I'm looking at Scott and Deborah. Very important, somewhat important, not important at all. Not important. But also, it puts your mind in the right framework for the work to come. The next 4 pages is somewhat tedious. We need your investment statements, your social security statement, if you have a pension, if you're going to sell your business, what's it worth, your tax returns, your trusts, your wills, all that stuff that you hate to look at. You give it to us, you give us a couple of weeks, we'll compile it into a first draft of our financial plan, we'll sit down, we'll talk the plan through with you, you'll see things that are wrong or need additional work or correction, whatever, and then eventually we get a stable financial plan, and then from the financial plan comes the investment plan, and we go ahead and make sure that that's all squared away, whether we're investing the assets in-house or whether we're helping you make sure your 401k is allocated properly. And so that is where I'm going to stop today. David Edwards, Heron Financial Group, Wealth Advisors.